some people are throwing away their acne products for the fear that they cause cancer. Specifically, benzoyl peroxide washes, the acne washes that kind of stain your pillowcases or your towels, have been found by one laboratory to have benzene in them. And benzene is a group 1 carcinogen, meaning that we know it causes cancer. But there's some very interesting things happening behind the scenes. There's actually some shady stuff that's happening at the laboratory that relates to the Pentagon and patents and a whole bunch of other stuff that we need to talk about before we start chucking our benzoyl peroxide in the trash. So let's break down what people are freaking out about, what is actually happening, and what this means for you. And to start, if this kind of sounds familiar, you're not wrong. Do you remember that there was a scare about benzene being found in sunscreen products about a year ago? There was a laboratory that looked at a whole bunch of sunscreens and said,
"There's benzene in this, it's causing cancer, we need to rip them off the market."
Well, we have some updates on that, so keep that thought in mind. But yes, this is the exact same laboratory that is now saying benzoyl peroxide acne washes have benzene, which can cause cancer. And they specifically tested and are claiming that all of these brands have benzoyl peroxide that was found with benzene in it. Well, let's look at the facts and what happened and if we should be concerned, starting with the study that they did. They essentially took a bunch of benzoyl peroxide products and they tested them at different temperatures. They looked at them at room temperature that you might find in a bathroom. They looked at them at skin temperature, basically what you would find if you put them on the human body. And then they looked at them under extreme heat conditions, like what you would find if you left benzoyl peroxide in a car in Georgia on a 93-degree day for like 17 to 18 hours. Lab Muffin Beauty Science is an amazing cosmetic chemist who literally broke down and pieced through this entire study. And she found many flaws and inconsistencies. Not to mention, who's keeping their benzoyl peroxide at 100+ degrees for multiple hours in a day? But that's not the only suspicious thing. There have even been federal judges that have looked at this company's history and said, this is a bit shady. And the specific company that is finding all of these cancer-causing ingredients inside of products is called Valisure. And again, this isn't their first rodeo. The interesting thing is that Valisure is a privately owned third-party company, so they aren't public and they actually don't make a lot of their data public either. Specifically, that study that they did where they're claiming that these acne products are so dangerous, they didn't even publish the results of what happened to the benzoyl peroxide products that were at bathroom air temperature or human temperature. They only published and sounded the alarm on benzene in the extremely heated up, basically cooked products, which is a little bit fishy. But wait, it gets worse. There's someone who works there as a president, basically high level, and his name is David. Well, guess who has a patent on a shelf-stable benzoyl peroxide product? If you look at Google Patents, the same guy's name is right there. Now, what does this mean? Well, a patent is essentially a claim to intellectual property. It's saying,
I had this idea first, and I'm going to claim it as my own for about 10 years.
And basically, the people who created that patent and got it, they could sell that, they could license it to someone else, or they could make their own products with it. And remember that whether it's products or people's names, correlation is not causation. Just because something is related doesn't mean that it caused one another. For example, when ice cream sales rise, shark attacks rise. Does that mean that ice cream consumption is causing shark attacks? No, that means it's summer. More people are eating ice cream and more people are at the beach with sharks. Which, by the way, sharks aren't even as dangerous as getting into a car, but that's a story for another day. But correlation not being causation, we still have to look at this and say, it's a little suspicious that this company, who's claiming that all of these products are so bad, is seemingly holding a patent so that they could create the exact solution. But it gets more suspicious. But remember, this is the same company that did all of that sunscreen testing and they found benzene in sunscreens. Well, did you know that they also did it for dry shampoos and for hand sanitizers? The dry shampoos and the hand sanitizers didn't get as much media attention, but this company has literally gone after multiple classes of cosmetics and beauty products with, again, data that doesn't seem to be all there. Valisure specifically contracted with one beauty conglomerate who sold dry shampoos. And after working with this beauty conglomerate, they turned around and said,
"We worked with them. They have benzene in the products. It's toxic."
Well, they got slapped with a cease and desist letter, and a federal judge actually looked at this case. And the judge themselves said,
Holy sh! This is shady.
The data is sketchy at best, it could be falsified, and a lot of this doesn't make sense. Now, let me just say, I'm a huge proponent of regulation. I'm a huge proponent of questioning what's in our products and if they are safe and if they are effective and how they work. But there is an importance to make sure that we are sharing factual, true information. And if a large beauty conglomerate is purposely poisoning our scalps, you right, I want them taken down for it. But the fact that this company isn't even publishing credible data and trying to exploit some of these opportunities, seemingly, allegedly, for money, it gets a little suspicious. But that's where the Pentagon comes in. Literally the Pentagon, giving them contracts for drug safety testing. That's right, this company that is coming up with random, not well done studies is literally raising their hand and saying,
There's terrible toxic chemicals in these products, but we can be paid to fix it. We can be paid to look into it and to solve it for you.
And at this time, there are multiple reports saying that the Pentagon has entered into contracts with them, basically giving them money to do drug safety testing. But this is a private company, not a public one, so we don't even have the data. And the data that they're publishing doesn't even look to be that sound. But remember that sunscreen whoopla? Whatever happened to that? Because so many brands had to pull their sunscreens off of shelves. Well, some of those sunscreen manufacturers actually went to an independent third party. Basically said,
It's not us doing the testing. It's not Valishar doing the testing. It's someone else over there, and we'll front the bill. We'll pay the money. We just want to see what's going on with these products because we honestly didn't know that there was benzene in them.
and that third party, they couldn't find benzene in it either. And before we start connecting all these dots together, we have to talk about benzene in general and benzene in the industry. Because yes, benzene we know is a group 1 carcinogen. We know it can cause cancer, especially when it's inhaled. But what a lot of people don't know is that you're probably getting more benzene exposure at a gas station or in one day in a polluted city than you'll get from months or weeks of using products, even the ones that they left in a hot car under extreme temperatures for multiple days, if not months on end. And that doesn't mean that it's a good idea to inhale benzene. As Lab Muffin Beauty Science said, you don't want to go huffing your benzyl peroxide. And as Dr. Shireen Idris said, you don't want to go cooking it. And if you do, we've got bigger problems. But it's important to note that when we're testing products and when we're looking for dangerous or harmful chemicals, we want to make sure that we're testing them in ways that they will actually be used. You know, if you inject water unsterilized right into the body, you bet that can cause a bunch of issues. If you even drink too much water that doesn't have salt in it, you can literally cause brain swelling and death. Remember, the dose makes the poison. Depending on what it is, it can be more or less harmful. And same with benzene. The amount of benzene that someone is exposed to over a specific period of time matters. And it also matters how they get that into the body. Are they inhaling it as a particle, which is pretty freaking dangerous? Or is it being applied to the skin, which benzene isn't even readily topically absorbed, meaning that the skin can't really absorb benzene that well, even if we do just slap it on the face. And truthfully, when we look at the conditions that this test was done under, it doesn't make a lot of sense for everyday use. Not to mention, benzel peroxide has been around for decades, like 50 years. Dr. Shireen Idris was in a taxi or in a car in New York City, and she brought up a great point. She said so many people have been helped with their acne by the use of benzel peroxide. If benzel peroxide had benzene or cancer-causing effects, wouldn't we have noticed a rise of cancer in acne patients? Again, correlation is not causation, but wouldn't there be some sort of elevated risk of having acne and getting cancer? We've seen nothing like that, and benzel peroxide has been generally regarded as safe, and it's been used over and over and over again by many people. I mean, the way benzel peroxide even works is that it's got these 2 benzene rings and a peroxide bond in the middle. And that peroxide bond, when it comes into contact with heat, like the skin, it actually breaks, releasing oxygen. And remember that acne bacteria hates oxygen. It's anaerobic. That's why it lives in our skin instead of on top of our skin. And that's why when the oxygen gets introduced, when that bond breaks, it kills the acne bacteria. And that's why benzel peroxide is so effective at getting rid of acne, both on the face, the chest, the back, and yeah, even killing bacteria in our armpits if we want to use it that way, which Dr. Dre has recommended, and it has changed my life. It's so good. But if there really was this major concern, wouldn't there be a rise in cancer in acne patients? And specifically, if this company is so sure about their testing results, Why don't they release all of them? Why aren't they telling us about the data for human skin temperature or for bathroom temperature benzoyl peroxide? But what does this mean for you, and how do all these dots connect? First, let me tell you how I'm approaching this. I'm personally not going to stop using my benzoyl peroxide. I use it on my back, and it is like one of the only things that works as quickly and effectively as I need it to. So again, this is the list that they tested and they're pointing fingers at. I'm not afraid of any of these. Now, if you are, or if you're just unsure and you don't want to use them, you don't have to. There are other acne ingredients that have been shown time and time again to work. You can look at salicylic acid, at sulfur, or retinoids. These are great options. And you could just pause the use of your benzoyl peroxide and like, don't cook it and don't keep it in a hot car, right? If you want to switch to something else in the meantime, there are medically proven ingredients, but also if you do have a bottle and you want to finish it up, speak to your doctor, speak to your dermatologist, speak to an endocrinologist, someone who works on hormones in the body, speak to an oncologist, which is a cancer doctor, or speak to a chemist and ask them. But for me, it's not something that I'm going to be throwing away. And this is where we get to connecting the dots. But I'm definitely not going to be buying this shelf-stable benzoyl peroxide that this David guy is working on. Again, do you see how these things line up? This private company that won't release their data because they're not required to, won't even release proper study data, but continues to point fingers at different areas of the cosmetic industry saying that things are toxic and dangerous and have benzene. They do find benzene under very suspicious conditions, but then they're raising the flags, all these products are getting pulled off shelves, and they say, hello, oh, government, Pentagon, pay us to do the safety testing. We can figure this out for you. Is that not a major conflict of interest? Now, not only are they allegedly getting these contracts from the Pentagon, the US government, but there's also this patent that the David guy works at the top level at this company is part of and benefiting from, and it's for shelf-stable benzoyl peroxide. This kind of looks like the classic scheme of create the problem, market the shit and promote the shit out of the problem, create the solution, and sell everyone on this solution that can only be provided by you. It is one of the scariest things to witness happening in real time, especially because as someone who works as a medical esthetician, when I first went to aesthetic school, I would have eaten this shit up. I was told that natural was better. I was told that there were so many toxins all around and I had to use these essential oils from Young Living, not knowing that those were literally an MLM scam. I would have bought this up. And look at the media. Look at so many people online, specifically moms who are fearing for their teenage sons and daughters and children who are using benzoyl peroxide acne products. I hate the idea of being forced to throw away or fear very helpful products without the substantiation. And then I hate the idea that these companies that are literally creating the fear in the first place are being financially rewarded for leaking some shaky ass data and then trying to sell us a solution or sell the government a solution so that our tax dollars can pay for it, for them to just line their pockets. Because remember, they're a private, not a public company. Again, I'm an esthetician, not a dermatologist, not a chemistry PhD. Please go check out some of the posts that these amazing, brilliant people have done, because you deserve to have all of the information, including the shit that some of these private companies don't want you to know about, including some of the testing results that maybe even some cosmetic companies don't want you to know about. You deserve to have all of the information so that you can look at it and you can decide and make the best choices for you. And if you struggle with that, you at least deserve to have the information and know the experts who are certified and have the licensure in those fields so that you can look to them as a filter for all of the bullshit information that is on the internet to try to help you make the right decisions if you don't have time to dig into the nitty-gritty details. I am passionate, I am pissed, and I'm gonna go slather my back acne in these benzoyl peroxide products. Let me know what you think of this, and I cannot wait to see you here and here. Love you guys. Bye.